Um, wow. This is
Well,
nothing to discuss though, you know? Huh?
I mean, it's a little something. It's kind of crazy. Meaning, not that it was completely unexpected. It's crazy in the fact that this is where we are again, and the way that it happened, where he improved in every single sector, is incredible. For an election like this to happen, and Trump to improve among young men and Latinos and Black people and like poor people, where everybody in every state, in every category,
Yeah.
he did numbers. He did
He
numbers.
did. He did. I mean, I'd be interested to see the exit polling, right? I mean, I've
Right.
heard some of it already, and a lot of it was with men, especially men, Black and Latino men. And I don't think it was like it didn't flip. It didn't take men, or especially Black men, from being Harris supporters, but he definitely bumped the numbers up. You know, enough across the board, from what I've heard so far.
Right.
But yeah, man, this one right here, like I could talk about this for a long time because this thing has it needs to be dissected. And so I don't know. I guess where would I even start with this? So I'll say I'm not thrilled, but I'm not angry neither. I just look at it like I think I'm really more disappointed in people. And it's not
Yeah.
because and it's not really because he won. I'm not disappointed because he won. I'm disappointed. So let me just lay out my full case. So I'll give you one example. So as I'm going through Facebook, kind of like the day before, people are laying out these cases. Like if you're inclined to vote for Trump, think about this and think about that and think about this. And these are like in objective circles and people that I know who, I guess they will probably lean Republican, but they are kind of anti-Trump, more or less. Some of them.
Hmm.
And my whole thing is this, man, and this is my first stop. Okay, you're positioning yourself as thoughtful. You knew that you didn't like Trump for 8 years now, right? And if you didn't know for 8 years, you at least knew for four, right?
Right.
And now you've come with this reflexive, oh, we got to go against this movement mentality. What have you done? What do you do?
Right.
I mean, if you're going to have a thoughtful approach, so I'm assuming, okay, this is a long term approach. It's been 8 years. What are we going? So, more or less, you want to take the position of, oh, I am introspective, I am thoughtful, I am long range, but you don't actually do anything. So
Right.
I cannot. It's frustrating, and it's sort of like, I don't really. So it's sort of like for me, like a never meet your heroes type of moment. But I'm not a hero. I don't really have heroes like that, right? If I had to,
Recognition's a virtue.
yeah, true. But I mean, I guess if I were to pick a specific hero, I don't have heroes like that. If I were to pick heroes, it would be probably something like my parents or something like that for me. You know what I mean? So
Right.
because when I look at other people, I don't see them as they're like pieces, and I'll just pick off different characteristics and kind of like compile my own idea of what I think the ideal is, right? So that's the first thing for me, man. And I can't, it's a lot of frustration for me with that part. And I wouldn't necessarily even, let me not call it frustration. I'm just going to say that I don't believe in certain people. And I'm not here to wait 15, 20 years and for people to say, oh, we need 100-year plan to turn the culture around. I'll be dead and it does not matter to me. And I don't want to have that plan. So
Right. Like it's fun to speculate, but we need something that's actionable in our lifetime if I want to see some actual benefit.
yeah, and I know people. Maybe it's an old school thing. Like even in football, people used to have these 5-year turnaround plans, rebuilding, rebuilding. Now it's like 1, 2 years. We got to go. I need to see. I need to see. I need to see some incremental progress. But these aren't action minded people. They're not action minded. They are frustrated because people like Trump are action minded people, and so they're like, well, this is a pragmatist. This is the person that moves for the expediently, the expedience of the moment. I guess that's the word I'm trying to say. And and I'm like, yeah, short term people respect getting stuff done. That's how that works, you
Right.
know.
That's how. If they're going to be, anyway, yes. If you want to see things done in the short term, you have to get things done and you have to be action oriented, period. Ideas are great, and that's where you start. That's not where you end.
Right. So get the idea to do something. And once again, let me just reiterate: you didn't like him for at least 4 years.
Right.
So whatever you did, it amounted to Trump versus Harris. It's all bad. It
All
was
bad.
it's never good. It was never good. So bring about the kind of culture, and then I'm gonna stop talking. Just bring about the kind of culture and choices. If you want to be thoughtful, give me some results. At least give me some candidates that are results of your thoughtfulness, or
Right.
show me some type of movement towards, hey, we're trying to get here. Maybe during the next election. I don't even see that plan. So I'm gonna just stop because I got a lot more, but I'm gonna just 'cause I got yeah. You,
I mean, that's fair. It's fair because it's true. It's a daggone shame that we knew this was an option. We knew this was something that was on the books at least for the past 12 years, and that we are here now again for a third time. We're like, it's Trump versus the world, and there are people who just love Trump and they are just voting for the person they like. And people are like, I don't like that guy. I get that, but we've had 12 years to choose something else, to do something else, and to work something else out. And so far, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. So I can understand. I'm frustrated too, but I also don't have a solution. I don't have a way to fix this. I guess we should focus on the things that we have some ability to, and like focus on these local elections to make sure we can influence what we can. But as far as these national elections, the people who are in charge have decided not to listen to anyone else besides themselves. And they have a very significantly strong echo chamber that does not allow reason to slip through. So I can't fix that.
I, I guess elections or campaigns are businesses, right?
Yeah.
In themselves. I know I saw somebody said that America is a business, and that's not true. That's if you think that, then we got a problem.
Right.
But campaigns are a business because people are giving you money for a result that they would like to see.
Right.
This is the whole point. If that's why when people I heard this referenced about Joe Biden. When Joe Biden came out for that debate, all the money pretty much stopped. Like, oh man, we're throwing our money down the drain. This guy can't win. Why
This
would
is
we
not,
do?
I have no return here. No, thank you.
Yeah. So that's that thing. And yeah, so that's another part of it. Then the other part, man, which is kind of sad, it's near and dear to me because I don't know about you. I'm going through my feed today. And there are people who are literally afraid. They
Right.
are afraid. I saw a message, a guy was like, his kid asked him, are they gonna put us back in chains? Are we gonna go back to slavery? He was like, nah. Like literally some people really think this. And
But they've been told this by some very ill-informed others, which makes it very frustrating. Like it's frustrating to me the lack of agency. I think that was the part that bothered me the most. Well, that was one of the main parts that bothered me was the fact that when people were faced with a decision, they advocated that whole portion. They're like, you know what? Bad things are happening. It's out of my control. Nothing can be done. The world is over. I'm like, oh, that's not the lesson in which we can argue from this at all. There are things that we could have done and we didn't do them, and now this is where we are. Now we have the opportunity to make new choices. What new choices are we going to make in the face of adversity?
just
I didn't hear a lot about that though. We're in a whole lot of people like, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to fix this problem this way. It seems like all opportunities are going over here. I'm going to take advantage of those opportunities. Nope, none of that.
none of that. I don't even know if they're capable of doing that, Josh, to be honest with you.
Maybe they are not, but that is what is required. That was what I was looking for. That is the part that makes me most disappointed when they talk about how great America is, how much opportunity we have in this land. That is the part that we have. We only have our choices. We only have how we respond to adversity. And when adversity comes up and people abdicate their entire responsibility of taking care of themselves, I'm like, this can't work. And if this is what you're going to do, then I can't depend on you as a partner in the fixing it process. And that's really disheartening.
Nah, man. And that's why, like, even respectfully, like, I can't respect men who don't have that go and get it mentality. Like, if you're going to be we're going to ride the Democratic train to prosperity. And I'm not even trying to make a political statement. I'm just saying it are you going to go out and get yours, or are you with let's just dole out the money? I can't respect men who I know if they're in their hood, they might do anything to anybody. But if it's the other or white people or something, they like scared, and to be honest, man, it's some kind of it. Like you said, people have been telling them this, but I know we talked about fear before, and fear is paralyzing to some people, and they're not even using their I don't want to call it perception. The guy was already president. Why
Right.
do you think that you are now? Why is he now going to put you? Why do you believe that? Why are we saying this?
What evidence do we have? What reason could there be? Come on, come on, come on.
It's come on, like you said, come on, and but what it shows you is that there's something wrong here to me. To me, that what's the problem is we have groups of pockets of people in American culture that have been coddled to the point that they can't function. And it's not just black people.
No.
To me, I think you see it in a lot of white women as well. And I'm talking about from the voting standpoint. You know what I mean? People are very much driven by the way that they feel about things. And a lot of what was coming up in the voting, from what I saw in the exit polling, is people had concerns about economy, and it's just like, how is my life going to work out? Whereas though some people are like, I don't like this person and he makes me feel bad. And so therefore I have to choose the other person because I don't want to feel bad. And
Right.
this is the mechanism that I can use to navigate my way through life. No, you can't use that unless somebody else is protecting you, unless you've got
Right.
other people protecting you. And
Once
that's
they
what I
do,
mean. They've been coddled to the point where they cannot function, where they think that I'm going to make all decisions based upon my emotions of how I feel about everything. That's my my perception, my understanding of this situation. And then they even go for people who voted for Trump because some people think, oh, I'm feeling like the world is leaving me behind. I need somebody to take care of me, to bring
right.
back the jobs that don't make any economic sense. That I'm saying so all of this stuff goes together. But I'm rambling. I don't know if you got something that you want to add.
Yeah, I mean, I was very disappointed with the way things happened. I think a lot of people in America were disappointed with how they went from Biden, who we hadn't seen make a really strong show of how he was going to help anyone choose to run. Like, that was a mistake. That was a terrible thing to happen. And then to have people switch horses, quote unquote, midstream, and like just a few months before the election, like, oh, just kidding, no Biden. We'll let the vice president do it. I'm like, but the problems we had with Biden's administration are the same problems now that we have with Harris. It's like, well, Harris is going to do certain things differently. I'm like, well, she had 4 years to do things just differently, and that didn't happen. How much power is she going to have to do things differently? What makes you think she will be more capable than the previous person? And they're like, well, we like this person; it'll be okay, and we'll focus in on the fact that she's diverse and a woman, and we'll just use the DEI script to run this through. I'm like, oh, that's not how that works. This is great for making people feel bad enough to like give you some of their money in the business world. But this
Mhm.
isn't enough to convince people to leave their families high and dry on the wishful thinking that you're going to make it better somehow. Oh, that's not
No.
going to go over very well for people who are already struggling with how you've already done things. They
Mhm.
already don't trust you. You're going to need to demonstrate competence. You're going to need to change everything you've done to show people, like, make an actual use case and say, like, look, I can get things done. I'm changing things now. If that had been how they'd run their campaign, there might have been a little bit more like gravitas to it. But instead, it was just like, women are under threat. Believe all women, love all women. She's a woman. Vote for women. Anyone who likes trophies and gives women. I'm like, hey, that may be true, but that doesn't put food in my mouth. Like, I really need you to go out and fix the actual problems we have. What is our plan to fix those problems? And it took like months before they were like, oh, here's Harris's plan. She kind of sort of wants to do something like this. I'm like, this is too little, too late. I can't believe you, but also this is not compelling enough for people who already don't trust you to jump automatically jump from where they are to jump on your side. It was hard to watch. It was painful to see play out, but also we've already seen that rhetoric used back when he ran against Hillary. And so, like, we know this doesn't work. This is ridiculous. It's like, well, all the media is on our side. we can use that as the bully pulpit to make whatever happen. I'm like, dude, you can't guilt people into choosing for their lives. You can't use your values and your standards. You can't just impose them on other people and just say, hey, believe like me or you're a bad person. Believe like me or you're associated with this bad person over here. I'm like, that is not going to be enough of a political argument to get enough political capital to do things. Plus, Trump was backed by like most of Wall Street. So it's like, it's really, really, really a bad choice to say, this is the guy you don't like, but he has all the money's behind him, and he's had a track record of doing just good enough to where we didn't all die. So when people tell you that when he comes back, he's gonna kill everybody, do you believe that? Is that really, really where you want to pin your allegiance?
I mean, I agree with you. As I've gotten more attentive to politics, I don't know. I think the Democratic Party has an accountability issue because I don't know if this is going to make them change how they think about things. And for me, because it's very much a sales marketing positioning. This is what they do. I think somehow they've gotten some research, and this is just me speculating. And this is me speculating based upon what I see on actual sales and marketing data. The actual thing doesn't matter anymore. You want to touch people emotionally. And if you can get them emotionally, we can get them to do what we want them to do. And somehow they think that works for everyone all the time. And I've seen it work. This is what I mean. Even in the objectivist community, people, I think that they're making a rational argument. They're making emotional arguments. They have been hit with it too. And it's mind-boggling because this is what they all rail against. But when you hit a person's center nerve, there's something that we've identified. I mean, I don't necessarily know that this is new, but you can speak to a person's emotional mind more than their rational mind. It's just like that saying when people say, what do they say? People might not remember you, but they remember how you made them feel or something like that.
Right.
And but like you said, that works to a certain extent till people were like, hey, we need jobs and food and stuff. Like, we can't eat these smiles.
Right? Like, if you like me, I want to be on the right side of history where all the good people are and be part of the accepted group on media. But like, I have to be alive to support you. So I'm gonna pick that. Maslow's hierarchy and all that.
That's a part of it, man. There's so many issues here to pull apart. There's a resentment of the new age. I kind of say metrosexual within quotes. I don't really mean metrosexual. I just mean the man who's so sophisticated that he doesn't need to, mingle with the downtrodden, the uneducated and the people. And I think they said it right. The people who work with their hands and, and stuff like that. And it's like, no, you need these people and you should have a respect for these people because that's, you should have a good understanding of what you do versus what they do. It's not you versus them, it's you with them. That's
right. Y'all are on the same team.
Yeah.
If you are working together, then you're part of the problem and you're not actively getting things done. They are the way things get done.
Exactly. But there's just like this, it almost is a turn up of the nose. They don't engage them. That's why to me, you get this writing off of people as Trump supporters. You never really had a conversation with them, really. You just saw who they voted for. You saw that they do have religious commitments, convictions, for some of them, for a lot of them, because a lot of people really are really thanking God for Trump winning. Like, oh God, like this is blowing my mind. Like, God saved us by letting Trump win. Wow.
Yeah. I'm just like, were you here during the first time he was president? Did you not see his entire life? Like, what part of this looks godly to you? I don't know what Bible you're reading, man. We clearly have different ideas of what we think Trump does.
Yeah, that part is crazy. But yes, the man who thinks he's above others at this point, he's college educated or he's eclectic or he's not into that masculine stuff. And man, I don't want to hear about those men. I have no sympathy. I have no empathy for that. It's just because, like I said before, we're here together and we're working together. And when you put your nose up and pretend like masculinity isn't a thing, Man, give me a break. It's so phony, man. And I don't want to start talking about Van Jones because he blows me. But so that's another part. And I guess the other part is just the long range thought. Yes. But I don't understand how if you're going to take the thoughtful road, you can't just basically not do anything and just pull a rabbit out the hat like, I'm not going to vote for Trump because he's bad. And you didn't have any other thoughtful plan. So
Yeah, yeah. Not voting for Trump is not a plan. It's a way to make yourself feel better. You have to get to resolve the internal conflict. The world still exists, and so
right.
externally, you're going to live with these consequences. And what is it? You're either choosing or you're changing. If you're not going to change the world, no, that's how the phrase goes.
Hmm.
But the quote is like you either going to choose to change things or you've already made a choice, and that other choice is not to do anything. You're choosing either way, basically. Yeah, you're
Okay.
choosing one.
I mean, yeah, that's the assumption, right? Because it really kind of almost depends on the observer in a sense. But yeah, I agree with you. It's
Yeah, what
just
you're not changing, you are choosing. So
okay.
if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And I think
Okay. I like that.
that's the part that I'm like, we're doing it, y'all. Wrong. We're doing it wrong. This is the problem. This is the thing I have a concern about. This is not going to work out great.
I mean, but you're right. And I mean, this is kind of like this is what motivates me because when I go out here and I'm looking at everybody and I'm trying to have respect for their positions, and I get to this moment where I realize there's no one. That's how I feel. There's no one. There's the people who are just going to live in the moment, not really long range. We're just going to win today, and that's it. To me, that's like to me on kind of on the Trump side, and in a sense, right? And I don't have a problem with winning today. I would love to win today, right?
Right?
But then you've got the other side where people are saying we got to be thoughtful of this and we got to be worried about the feelings of this, and not necessarily just feelings, but it's trying to take ideas and being super super rational, which I love. But like I said again, I don't want to hear from people who want to be rational all day and don't actually do anything. I don't want to hear from you. You know?
Right. That's that pseudo rationality. It's just like I live in my head. I have wishful thinking. I think about ideas. I know a lot of things. I'm like, oh, that's good. It's a good start. All right. On that foundation, what are you going to build? Oh, I didn't build anything. I don't have anything. I didn't take any action. I thought about a lot of things, and now I know a lot of things. The
Mhm.
end. Like, okay, you became a reference book. That's cool. I need you to become like an active part of the reality. I need you to participate. I need you to engage. If you can engage, then life can get better. But if you don't engage, then life has to stay the same. Like if you do nothing, nothing happens. So what was your second choice? Like what did you want to do about it? It's like, oh, well, I didn't do anything about it. I'm like, oh, well, I mean,
Have a
if you
plan.
don't run the race, you can't expect to win. Like that definitely failed. That
Right.
definitely was a failure.
Right.
You should not have done that.
Yeah. So somebody has to get out there and say, we need action, thoughtful action. We need thoughtful action. I don't, at the risk of repeating myself, I don't want to hear from people who had issues for 4 years and have a reflexive decision and they didn't do anything for 4 years.
Right?
I can't do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to listen to you. I don't want to hear your thoughts anymore because you don't actually do anything with them. You know, I almost would side with the pragmatist over somebody who doesn't actually do anything. You know, I mean, at least the pragmatist actually does something today. You
Yeah,
know?
something happens with this person.
So combining that, understanding that, coming out of that, just being disappointed with the culture that I'm from. It's almost it's just a weird split because it's not a weird split. It's just that to see them so fearful and to see them so afraid. I think we talked about this before. When you don't try to learn and understand, you have no choice but to be afraid. And they are afraid and they've never tried to learn, they've never tried to understand what's going on here. They never tried to understand the opportunities. They just took everything that the news told them wholesale, and the news kept doing it like, oh, yeah, this is going to happen. That's going to happen.
If we want this to happen, it's going to happen. It'll be great over here. It'll be great over here. But if this other thing happens, the world will end because he is in the bad category. Don't
Right.
forget.
But here's
What
the
else?
thing about that, though, Josh. It means you're not even using your own eyes, ear. He was the president before.
Yes.
If something were to if something even close were to be on the horizon of like being like that, do you have any evidence? But they don't even ask themselves, is there evidence? They're not even in the business of gathering evidence. That's the thing that's so to me, you're the culture that I'm talking about, the coddled culture, which to me, a lot of that, I just gotta say, a lot of that coddled culture is the black culture. The tyranny of low expectations, or is that what it's called? Something like that. And so it's like we never left that. Y'all did not understand that you need to develop. And I do feel bad that people never told you and people never required it from you, and therefore you never developed it. And so now you just living on emotions, coddled, don't really know how to maneuver, and you're just fearful of everything. But that's something that has to change. And I'm not the one who's going to be, I don't know, I'm sympathetic of it in a sense because nobody helped you, but because I'm talking about adults, you got to learn the hard way with me. So I'm not going to be like, oh, no one ever told you, poor you, I'm so sorry for you. Nah, you will learn by the ropes. I will teach you.
One way or the other, hands. They coming. I don't know why you have to. If you won't learn from reality, then I will help you because you have now started. You're within my circle of control. You're starting to affect me now, and that is not that is no longer acceptable. We can't have people on this boat. If we're on a rowboat, everyone's got to row. Everyone's got to pull their weight.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're all just carrying you. And I don't have any room for dead weight. We would have to throw you overboard. I have no. You just pick up your oar and row. This has been done before. There are people doing it around you now. Find the thing you're good at. Become good at that thing so you can trade with other people and trade with other people. Please help meet the needs that we have. We have actual problems that need to be solved. I need you to take up the mantle to try to solve these problems with me.
Yes, yeah. And that it hits home for me because it's beyond, it's a little bit beyond that. So I agree with you with what you just said. It's just that it's not really a confrontational thing. And this until it becomes, hey, you need to give me this, then it becomes a
Right.
confrontational thing. What it becomes for me is I really would like to help you. I have, I do have a connection. I have personal connections with people who have this mentality, right? Deep personal connections with people who have this mentality. They can't lead me, okay? None of these people can lead me, especially the men. The men aren't leaders. The men aren't individuals. And it sounds bad, and I'm not trying to make it be bad, but I don't want to hear from aggressive men who can't even attempt to fend for themselves or use their own eyes and ears and gather evidence and develop themselves. I don't want to hear from you. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. I'm not interested in you, and you can't lead me. And so that part is frustrating. As far as to me, and I made this point before, and I'm going to say it again, and people might not like it. When it comes to women and kids, I don't necessarily judge them as harshly as I judge men, and people might say, oh, that's sexist. I don't care.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know?
They're different. They have different roles. I need them to take up. I need them to take up their roles. People with greater strength. I need them to use that strength to do things that are important. If it's anyway, there are some things that are very helpful to both model and effectively change. And I don't mean other people can't model things. I'm just saying I need other strong men to demonstrate strength. That is what is important to me as a man. And then I want that to be the model that other men look to and say, oh, I want to do more of that. I'm like, yes, that is the thing I want to see more of. More of that, please.
Mm. I mean,
And
because
that doesn't change right now. It just is a clear point of like, this is my value. I want this thing.
yes, but not beyond, I want this thing. This thing is necessary. If you're going
It
to
is.
navigate life, it is necessary. That's another reason why I don't like the new wave feminine type. It's not that I don't like them. I don't like when they try to pretend that we are beyond masculine, assertive men, because we are
Right.
not, and we're not ever going to be.
Right. It
Okay?
cannot happen. You can't
No.
get around nature. We
No.
only can adapt to nature.
And because it's not a progressive thing. It's not even something that's it's not something that's good to say, oh,
No.
oh, we want a society where we all feel comfortable. So let's just declaw the men. Let's just, you know, neuter them and domesticate them so they can't do anything. So we feel comfortable. And now what? Now you just cat food for somebody else or something.
Like they're forgetting what the strength is for. It's like we took all the claws away. What were the claws for again? I don't know. I just didn't want them to use it against us. Okay, well they can't use it against you. What were the claws for though? I mean, I guess everyone could look back in reality and say, you remember all the other people with claws? Those people exist. And they used to really use their claws to take all our stuff. And then we had the people with claws to make sure they could defend us. They wouldn't take our stuff. That was really key to us keeping our stuff. And now that no one has claws over here, I guess they can come back now and take our stuff. Oh, yeah. The claws were here for a reason. We should, if we don't learn now, we're going to have to learn the hard way. And that is
Yeah.
always the part that I'm like, this is a lesson that has been demonstrated over and over and over throughout history. We can keep pretending like it doesn't exist, but that only hurts us. Please don't do it this way.
Yeah. And part of it is this the bad part. And this is a tricky thing about life. And I think we discussed this before. Part of life is getting through adversity. And you've got to flex that muscle to be able to do it more and more because there's certain
Right.
things that you just can't call out of everything. You can't call out, you can't quit on everything. This is not a virtue.
Mhm.
Just and people just think like, well, if I don't like to do something, why should I? Life does not work like that, you know?
Exactly.
And there are times when, I mean, I can think of specifically with me, even with sports. This is why sports to me I wouldn't say it's important for men. I would say that it's helpful for men
There you go.
because, I mean, I remember one time I was playing football, broke my wrist, kept playing, got an interception. It was hurt. I played through it. I've seen people, when Donovan McNabb broke his ankle, won a football game. It's not to say that, yes, you should go out and break your ankle. It's to say that if you need to get things done sometimes, you can push through the adversity and get the
Yeah.
thing done sometimes.
But you
You
have
know?
to do that if you want to have strength. If you want to get better at something, you have to push through that adversity. That's the only way strength comes. And I hate it when we put that down, when we say, oh, it doesn't take all that. Oh, this isn't even necessary. Why do we even do this? It's like, because harder things exist. We need to build strength by letting them go through hard things here in a quote unquote controlled environment and go and play through, a broken wrist, play through a broken ankle so that when the time comes, they'll have more than enough reserve to carry us through and carry over the next carry. Anyway, they'll have more than enough to outperform and overperform in whatever situation we have coming up.
I mean, I don't know if it's Jordan Peterson or Jonathan Haidt that's kind of delving into the idea right now of you got to build up a certain amount of I don't know if it's immunity, not immunity. It could be immunity. I'm not necessarily sure. It's certain parts of you have to introduce certain toxins into a child's life so they can build up immunity to fend off these things. Because if you never
Yeah,
have to fend off anything, your body's like, oh, we can just chill.
right.
So
There's got to be a certain amount of adversity out there if you're going to build a certain amount of strength, and I think that's too important to ignore.
yeah, yeah. But the point of realization is just that I just don't have anybody. All right, let me just take a step back and just go straight politics. We kind of touched on the Democratic platform. Like everything is all the way you feel about things. You get a car, you get some money. Because this was Harris's plan. She was like, "Hey, we gonna give everybody $25,000, or whoever was set up to get the $25,000 to start a business or blah 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 and those things." And people might say Trump doesn't have any plans. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree. I'm not a tariff person at all.
Right.
Tariffs are dumb.
We're like, this is a terrible plan.
It's like,
Other people from doing something like not that way. We're going
yeah,
to scare them by outperforming them. We're going to go and we're going to actively compete, right? Capitalism, capitalism. Like no government tariff. Like no, that's not very American. Let's go back to the capitalism part. Let's do that. Do that part.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not on board with that piece, but the whole idea of we're just going to feel good, we're going to feel good our way through this mess, and if we just have faith in doing well, then we can do well. No, no,
Hmm.
I'm not
Just
even
believe.
interested in trying this.
Just believe real hard.
I'm not interested in even trying it, and it's to the point where I don't know if there could be. There's a possibility that there's going to be some division between men and women coming up. And not to say that there isn't some already, but especially like in the black community, because the way that the case is being made on television a little bit is like, black men, you lost the vote for us, and I think, or black and brown men, and I don't even think
Right.
brown men got to worry about it because brown men probably went and voted with their wives. They probably was on the same ticket or whatever. But the whole idea is just that, look, we're not on the same page here. There's a
Right.
disconnect. And I hate to say, I don't want to say it like, because it'd be falling too much within the narratives of saying, of leaving the Democratic plantation, because it's just not that simple. You know, it's
No.
the Democrats and Republicans they could be both bad at the same time. But the whole idea of people, look, we're going to just dole out the money. Anytime I hear we're going to dole out the money, I'm in total disagreement. You know?
Exactly. Like this is not a sustainable plan. It's also immoral, but it's
Yeah.
not a sustainable plan. Like you're
Yeah.
saying terrible things, but it's also not functional. Like we cannot do that sustainably.
And I think the other element to that is, as a man, I got to make my own way, you know,
Right.
and life doesn't even feel right if I'm not making my own way. Now, I know people who don't feel that way or struggle with doing that or don't have that instinct. And it's odd to me. And sometimes these might be womanizers, you know, like having the woman make the money. I wouldn't say pimp culture, but similar in a sense. I
Right.
never got it because as a man, I have to make my way. Like I wouldn't even feel alive if I didn't make my own way, right? And
Right.
that's an element of, so for me, that's why I can't get on board with like, hey, we got the money, let's just dole it out. You give me some, you give them some, everybody get it. No, as a man, you get yours, I get mine. If we're cool, we might share. That's cool.
Right.
That's my decision. But
Everybody takes responsibility for themselves. Everybody contributes in a real way that allows you to have that responsibility, but also that agency to make your own choices over whatever you want. Like you don't have. It's great to effectively know that you're going to engage with life in an active way, so you could actually have the capability and agency just to do what you want. And when people say we should advocate this to some other third party and let them take care of us, I'm like that's a terrible plan. Power to do things for you, power to do things to you. I don't want to have anybody. I don't want to give anybody the power to do those things to me, especially when it comes to important things. We're really talking about a lot of important things these days.
yeah, I mean, because what am I going to do then?
What am I? How am I going to
Around
change?
drink, sex all day, like indulgent things is just, this is, people think that this is a life. Those people
Right?
don't
What am
even,
I
they're
gonna
not
do?
even happy with that stuff. Huh?
What am I going to do when things don't go my way? When they decide to use resources in a way I don't like? What kind of recourse do I have?
You don't have any.
Zero.
You
All I
signed your
have, all I am is a perpetual victim, and I get to complain like, "Oh, I don't like the way people do things sometimes." It's like, well, you gave them that power. You're welcome. They have your stuff now, so now they're going to do whatever they want to do. And if you don't like it, you get to shut up.
I mean, but even beyond that though, Josh, your purpose is your meaning. This is kind of, it wouldn't spiral it. This is another point. And because I saw somebody make a post about, I can't remember the exact post. It was something about people are fearful and they're going back to religion. And this is kind of like the tie to Trump as well. And people can, I kind of understand it, right? But
Mhm.
what I was saying to the person is that people want meaning. And what we just talked about, to me, what you do with your life, this is what provides your meaning. If you let somebody take care of you and you don't actually do anything, there's no actual meaning. You're just
Right.
there, just whatever, you know. And people think that they think that that's going to be a life that they want, but you don't see people actually be happy with that life. If they do get that, just like the spoiled rich kid that never can develop into his own thing. He's trying to have a party, the next party, trying to get the next fulfillment from stuff that lasts 2 seconds.
Right.
Then it's gone. And you don't have that lasting fulfillment. We don't have I wouldn't say a consistent, we don't have a strong understanding of what makes meaning. I think matter of fact, let me take that back. We do know what makes meaning. we just don't do anything about it.
Don't do it. Unlike it exists. People have done it. People are modeling it. They just aren't
We know
taking it
what it
as a
is.
consistent thing that they can do all the time. It's frustrating.
So when to me, when that's why I say sometimes you got these intentionally brain damaged children because nobody ever taught them about meaning. Like imagine being a human without any actual meaning.
Right. So any of the humanity things where things don't make sense, they don't fit into a context, there's no reason for anything. It's just these things exist and you get to choose. Just pick. It's like by what criteria? By what standard? It's like just make it up as you go. It's like, oh, that's a terrible thing. It's like playing a video game with no objective. It's like you're just wandering around the whole time aimlessly. And like, isn't this game fun? It's like, is it a game? Are there rules to this? Is there a prize for winning? What counts as winning? I don't know. I just keep wandering around in this game, and I keep wishing that my character gets better by some random standard,
Right.
meaning other people, which is a terrible place to put people, especially since we do actually have data to say people actually have gone through specific steps to gain meaning in their life to actually make things better for both themselves and those they care about.
Yeah, people seem to be fighting it. Well, not I wouldn't say fight. Some people are fighting against it, but I think it's not necessarily they're fighting against it. I think their mentality is so short term that they just forgot. They just forgot that this is what this is, or they just are skeptical. And this to me, let me try to combine these ideas together. This is to me why philosophy and religion are similar because it's the comprehensive worldview or the one cohesive worldview, right? And I know I think you said you never read Peacock. And so, in the dim hypothesis, dim is the three different modes, I guess you would call it. So it's disintegration, integration, and misintegration. And so essentially disintegration is what I call the monkey mind. It's just it's no integration at all. It's just skepticism, it's expedience of the moment, it's pragmatism, whatever works type of mentality. Integration, he kind of relates it to, I guess, more of an Aristotle or Greeks, where ideas matter, they make sense, we operate on ideas, and we're fully integrated. We're combining our ideas and our actions in a meaningful way. And
Nice.
misintegrated was like a religionist, I think maybe say like a Christian view. Like you're integrated, but you're not integrated in the right in a
In the right.
non-mystical and an objective, rational way, right? And so
Mhm.
for me, integrated and misintegrated, they share that characteristic of giving you some kind of cohesive worldview. Like even if I
Right.
don't believe in a God unified, like I don't believe in mysticism, like I, it at least gives you an idea that you can cling to, and it's a long term idea. You can use it to project. You can actually use it to reject your short term impulses because you have a long term view of life, right?
Mhm.
Whereas though somebody who's disintegrated, why would you reject your impulses? There's no
Yeah.
long term view, and this is what you can remember right now. So just do
Just do it.
it.
Why not? It's here.
So to me, like I think people understand the connection between philosophy and religion in a sense, and I just think it just gives that.
Sure.
You say what?
In the sense that they both of those are used to make meaning of the world.
Right. But to me, without meaning, we're not doing anything. So I don't want, if you're not making meaning, I'm not interested in your political opinions. I'm not interested in what you think we should do. I don't care about I don't care about anything you have to say as far as, telling me what to do because
Right.
you don't even know what's going on. You're just
Right.
picking and choosing things at whim. And
Yeah. You can't tell me why. You don't have a reason why. And you don't get to say you have to do this thing. It's like, I mean, there are a lot of things I have to do in life, but you don't know what those are, and you don't know why I have to do them. It's not even a real conversation yet.
no,
You've not done the data yet. You don't have the information to give yourself perspective or context. All you can just say is you believe something. I'm like, okay, why? Why do you believe that? Nobody knows. People just do things. Like, okay, good talk. Let's not have this conversation.
no, I'm not interested in it. Just like I'm not interested in, people may not like it again, but I'm not a big fan of the offhand joke person. Like something may be important, but they always try to make a joke out of it. They never really take a side, but they always just have to have a joke just to make it to diminish something, to diminish
Right.
anything. Nothing has real meaning. We're just gonna make a joke. Or like I remember a person I know or grew up with. It's like somebody got shot in a store and then he just started posting it on Facebook, and just like live. You know, and I didn't think they were
Crazy.
dead though. They were dead, right? Or I think they died. So, and I'm like, oh wow, this is like just because to me, immediately I'm like, well, this is somebody's life. Somebody could be. What if their daughter or something, and their child just saw you posting and put it on Facebook or something like that. So to me, this is dysfunctional. This is not.
Right.
So, but this is to me. These are the decisions that you make when you don't have a full worldview. And I wouldn't say that this person is not intelligent. They just don't take any thought beyond the moment.
Hmm.
So
I mean, it's important to them. They're showing their respect for life or their value for it. They're like, I saw this. It was moderately interesting to me. Let's see what kind of views I can get.
yeah, it's the frustrating thing to me is that they just they make no connection of anything to meaning. It's the next everything is the next joke. Actually, I want to pull this up real quick because this is something like I even wrote about this. So this is related to what Jung calls negative thinking, right? And I kind of just put it in a quick part. And so, pretty much, this little section is called Negative Thinking and its Philosophical Implication. So, it's talking about Rand and what she said about something. It's like Rand astutely observes that perceptual types are unable to regard ideas with the seriousness they deserve. To them, ideas merely serve immediate ends, and they often reverse the relationship of cause and effect, misconstruing outcomes as origins. This behavior aligns with Jung's characterization of negative thinking, a type of cognition that habitually diminishes and trivializes the significance of its objects. Jung encapsulates this tendency with phrases such as nothing but or cherchez la femme, look for the woman, which dismiss complex phenomena by reducing them to their simplest, often most cynical interpretation. For instance, the phrase nothing but might be used to dismiss the profound emotional response as merely a chemical reaction, while Cherchez La Femme suggests that behind every problem involving a man, a woman must be responsible, underscoring a superficial understanding of human motivations. Both examples suggest a preoccupation with surface level motivations rather than deeper principles or values. This form of thinking not only refuses to recognize the importance of a cause, but also primarily focuses on what personal gains are involved, thereby reducing any conceptual or ethical manner to a transaction or a banality.
Hmm.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like they don't have any connection to human meaning.
Right. They don't know why this is important, and they don't have that context to say like this is the reason for these things. This is the reason for this attachment to the real values we're trying to achieve in life. Like this matters for this reason.
Right. And it's not lost on me that we've made these things up though. It's not
Yes, these are all conceptual. I'm not pretending that they're anything else. But it is sad when we don't actively work for and achieve the things that are possible. When we don't actively look for a long-term beneficial solution.
yeah, but issues like I said before, I just think some people are incapable of this. I think they're incapable of anything long term. That's my opinion.
Right?
I mean, it's not frustrating to me because it really doesn't. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's sad because we don't help them. That's my issue. We don't help them. And once again, I'm not saying that we didn't make these things up. I'm saying I'm saying that at least you can explain to them why we made them up or
Right.
how they were made. You can make a decision after that. But at least you would know.
Got to give something to hang this on to. There are certain things we can refer to that do make sense. We don't have to fully agree, but at least we can have some sort of basis for our decisions.
Yeah. So for me, when it came to the election, those are the things that popped out. The fear that I saw in black people, the fear that I saw in suburban white women, um, the inching, the movement of the black and brown, well, black and Hispanic men, kind of across the board. I mean, I'm quite certain that her being a woman played a part in this, just period. You know, but they didn't do her any favors by sending her out there and just being many times it's a goofball in a sense. You know, uh, maybe that's a harsh thing, but to me, like if you're going to be making these types of decisions, I can't keep hearing about the story about your grandmother and or the lady that owned the store down. I need some more substantive stuff than this. I can't.
Yeah. If you're going to be the person who's going to be the candidate for everybody, then you need to talk about the values for everybody. You can't show up there and be like, I'm going to be a candidate who's a nice woman, and you should vote me because I'm a woman. And you should vote for me because I'm a nice person and I'm smart. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I appreciate that. I need you to be good at something.
Right.
I have problems. How would you like to solve them? I am like there's something to be said for speaking to the people who want to relate with you, and that's fine. But that can't be your entire platform, and that can't be if you notice that the bulk of your audience wants real practical solutions because we haven't had that kind of clarity. You can't show up with a vague idea of like, well, I sort of kind of wanted things to be like they are, but a little bit better, and long as you vote for me, it'll be a little bit better. I'm like, I don't think that's an actual compelling argument to say, yeah, I will trust you on that. That these past 4 years were just a mistake, and the next 4 years will be mysteriously better now. You get a pass. I'm like, I don't know. You do get a pass.
No, you don't, because you kind of came out like, hey, the last guy didn't have to say anything. He just said Trump was bad, and you went along with that. So why can't we just say Trump is bad again? Don't you want to do that again? And
don't you want to do that? Come on, guys.
I'm not. And the bad thing about it is he is bad. He and we know it.
Right.
And they still voted you out. They still he dominated the whole thing. It's not even close. Popular vote. The whole map damn near red.
Right. They're like he's flipping a blue wall. They're like, where did the blue wall start? Where did it end? All I see is red.
He took the whole wall. The whole
wall. I don't fully know what's going on here. I don't.
And the bad, and even in the blue place, in the blue states, he was flipping like the cities.
Yeah.
Like the Brooklyn, I think. He flipped Brooklyn or Queens, one or the other. And Philly, not necessarily. I don't think he won Philly, but he definitely closed down the difference.
Right.
So I think some people might think that, okay, he's a Republican. He just wants the Republicans. You know, like people probably think that about me, right? And like I was an independent for a long period of time. And this is before I was even into politics. I just didn't want to be. I'm like, I don't really like the stuff that y'all say, and I don't really feel like I belong in either one of these places. So I'll just be an independent till I figured out. Like they don't really let you vote in primaries if you just play the independent role in some states. But like, I don't really care which party it is. If y'all have some reason going on, I'll be involved in it. You know what I'm saying? If y'all doing stuff based on some reason, I'm with it. But they don't even care. Well, speaking specifically about Democrats, they don't even care about trying to make that case anymore. They don't make the case. So I don't know what you do. So some people are like, well, you don't want to empower Trump because you don't know what might come beyond him. You're thinking too long to have not thought before. So I don't want to hear about that.
Right.
And I just want to see, I guess I don't know. I kind of want to see what manifests after this. Or what's the next step? I want to see what the Democrats do. I just want to see, are they going to take a look in the mirror? Because I just don't ever get the feeling that they look in the mirror ever at all. I just think that this always becomes, well, you start seeing the comments and, oh man, these uneducated voters, or these men who hate women, or these Bible thumping hillbillies or racists.
Yeah, I think they had it on ABC. No, CNN. I think had a little panel or whatever, and like one of the female anchors was just really angry, and he's like, "There needs to be a reckoning in the Democratic Party and how we describe those other people who actively voted for Trump. Maybe insulting them and calling them the worst people on earth for the past however long wasn't a great strategy. Maybe this backfired terribly. And we need to take a look at how we speak about the other side. They're
Yeah.
people like we're people. Maybe we should start treating them with a little bit more respect. Maybe this is a sign.
You don't get you don't even see, you don't see the respect. You don't see it online. You don't see
Nope.
it anywhere. These people think that they're better.
Yep. And they
And
say it
yeah,
to your face, but they still want your vote. Like that doesn't make sense. Like we're better than you. All of y'all are stupid. You don't know anything. If you would have known anything, you would already be listening to women and have them run your lives. And clearly, you're not. So you're a bad person. Vote for me. Wait, what? What happened?
wow.
Yeah. I just felt the last time insulting you and called you worthless. But you're gonna have to vote for me now. And if you don't, you're a bad person. I'm gonna keep shaming you. You're gonna keep. So the thing that you're already doing, if I vote for you, you promise you're gonna stop. I can't promise that. I will promise though, if you don't vote for me, I will continue to shame you. Well, you're already doing that now. I don't have any motivation to, listen. So I'm definitely not choosing to continue to get shamed. No, thank you.
Nah, man. It's it's unfortunate. It's beyond unfortunate
Right.
because you got
It's
a lot
terrible.
of people who tied to these parties, and I'm speaking once again from the black community standpoint. There's a lot of people that's just tied to the party, and I remember this was a while back. I was in one of these personality type groups, and they were talking about politics, and it's like, man, a lot of these black people don't even know where the platform is going. They don't even understand that these platforms are far left, and these people, it's like y'all voting Democratic. This has nothing to do with your values at all. And
No.
but they just got
Against your values. Not only are they not for you, these are actively opposed to the things you say you want to accomplish.
you exactly. And I'm not.
Like I want everybody to be self-sufficient and set up with their own business and all these communities to come together and do things well. I'm like, excellent. What would promote that? What are the things necessary to have your own stuff and make your own decisions? Wouldn't that be freedom, safety, autonomy? Because you just voted for someone to do all of that for you, which is not autonomy at all. They're going to
Right.
tax you more to do all those jobs you just said you wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, I just have to put my money where my. I mean, it's not my money where my mouth is. I just got to put up or shut up, more or less. And then I'm not going to shut up, so then I'm going to put up. But
Exactly. Like, oh, we all know which one you're going to choose. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
because once again, it's my job to better articulate the points, the things that I see that need to happen, and to put not only I'm articulating it for me, but I'm also articulating it to try to inspire people to so they can understand how we can make this stuff better and
Right.
go forward. And I don't want to be one of these people who throw out some long comment like next time, like 4 years from now, and then it'd be somebody that you didn't want, that you knew was coming down the pike, but you didn't do anything to change the culture to make it be someone, a more appeasing candidate. I want to do it now. Because to me, this is where it begins. I know people were disappointed, but to me, this is where it begins. Like, yo, we got to do better. Look at these two people we had to choose from.
Right.
We just chose a felon to be the president.
We chose a felon on purpose. We could have chosen anyone in the whole country, and we chose. Yep.
And I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying that that's how bad that you've done nothing. You've made a habit of doing nothing. You've made a habit of trying to, like you said, strong on people into voting for you because other person is bad.
Right.
Your whole argument is the last maybe 3 elections. It's not that we're good, it's that he's bad.
That's it. They showed up with one point and one weapon. I was like, hey, I don't like that guy. He has done things that are not good. You should not vote for him. That's my time.
Hey, wait. What are you going to do? We don't want to talk about that. It's just
Right? I'm not here for all that.
Nah.
Trump bad, me not Trump. See you on election day.
Yep. I mean, I've seen people make this argument verbatim. The guy was like, one of these people is a rapist, a convicted rapist, or convicted felon, blah, 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 and the other person is not. There you go. That's how you make the decision. Like, wow. What if the other guy was Hitler? Like,
Right?
this is a terrible logic. It's like,
This is the lie.
just the other guy. The other guy is not this thing. He's not that. I need to know what the other person is. What are they?
Exactly.
Tell me what they are. No, we don't. no, we have, I don't know, it's not rigged. We have managed these the way that we go about campaigning so much that we don't even answer questions anymore, or we just don't want to look bad. We want to just ride high and pretend, fake it till we make it. And then once we get
Right.
elected, it'll be good.
We're going to show up. We're going to claim the moral high ground. We're going to demonstrate none of that. And we're going to attack you if you don't agree. It's like, all right, that's the whole play. Let's run it.
Man,
It's like
pathetic.
you can do that, but you cannot pretend that when you lose, it is a failure of morality. It is not that America is an immoral country that just happened to hate everybody and wanted bad things to happen and tear things down. You did not make a case for good.
No. I think that's a great point though, Josh. It goes back to what you said that, like, if you don't make a decision, or I forgot what was the saying again. If you don't choose, then that's a choice or something. What did you say?
Yeah, if you're not changed,
Okay.
let me read it again because I heard this from one of the productivity people. No, Ian, the trader guy, Ian Dunlap.
I don't
Was
know.
wrong. Anyway, one of the trader guys was like, and the guy off Market Mondays, Ian, master trader, said like, "What you're not changing, you are choosing." I'm like, that's a bar. That's a bar right there.
Yeah, you have to pursue. If you're just defending, to me, that's almost, I would put that in, I would consume that now as an idea, and I would put that in my instinct to say, whenever somebody's just defending and not pursuing, my first instinct is no, I'm not dealing with this person like that. I want people who are like, I want to go there. That is what I want. This is my choice. Because people who like to defend, a lot of times they don't want to say what they want because they know it's the idea that they
Right.
want to say is trash. But if they just defend, then they can pretend like they have some type of good idea or some high ground or whatever. But whenever you have to choose, then you put your idea or your values out on display where people can nitpick them and judge them and evaluate, right? So I'm never for the person who doesn't want to say, I want this, I want that, I want to go here. Because that to me is just showing will. And will is associated with reason and is associated with a life. And that's how I think of it.
That's fair. I mean, it's good to have that clarity so you can have so you know what you're looking for. You always have that criteria top of mind. And I wanted more clarity. I wanted more helpful use cases put forward. And they have data. It's not that we have to guess. And they have polls. They have the ability to get feedback from people. There was no reason not to use that feedback to curtail their message to be a lot more focused on what it is that people say that they want. But which people?
Yeah.
Really not all.
I mean, it's like, who are you catering to? And
Who are you?
once again, at the risk of sounding, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Men matter. I am not on board with, we're not the same. Men and women are not the same. And I don't want to hear that message. I'm not interested in that message. And I don't believe in that message. And if you want to shame me, and the worst part is if you want to double down and try to shame me for even thinking that, then I don't even care about your message. I don't even care about the good parts about your message no more.
Right? Making it really hard to support you when you actively work against my own values.
Yes.
I'm not going to help you walk. I'm not going to help you work against me. That's not going to happen.
Nah, but there are men who are actively working against their own values. Like,
Sure.
this is why you see certain sentiments in the public sphere, in social media, television, all these. This is why you get some of the alpha male stuff. They see something. They may be distasteful about explaining it, but I'm not saying that it's not a thing. There's something that they can detect in these men, and I'm not calling it a gay thing. I'm not calling it anything like that. I'm just saying, like, these are not leaders. These are not men that hold society up. These are
But they're not men that
commentators.
command respect because they're not
No,
demonstrating the virtues that we want or that we admire.
no. Before the admiration, it's not going to work out well. Like, I don't admire them because it's not going to work out well. If it worked out well, I would admire these
Right?
things.
Not only impractical, it's not helpful. Can't
Yeah,
work.
it's not. And it's the whole idea of trying to pretend like it's the desire, it's the ideal. it's men for feminism is the ideal. What are we talking about here? Like,
Right? Which man? What are you anyway? Yes. What are we talking about? That's enough. What are we talking about
and then it's
here?
like then you get these arguments now, like they are actively, and I need to pull up a couple of there are men who actively say stuff like, well, we all come from a woman, so we all get our strength from a woman. Stuff like this. And it's
Right?
like, you really, like, who are you trying to impress?
Exactly. I'm just like, this is such a significant overgeneralization to be intentional. Like this is intentionally false. And
Mm,
I can appreciate what they're trying to get at, but the overgeneralization is so harmful that I have a hard time, responding in a nice way without dismissing them outright. Like I just can't listen to it. It's like that this clearly is not true and truth is not your goal, so therefore we're not having the same conversation.
no, we're not. But and me trying to be investigative. Like, what is it's something? So it's like, to me, is it single mother? Is it mom that you don't want to disappoint? Is it? And I mean, that they had weird psychology. I think Freud was on some every man wants to have sex with his mother type. I do not believe in
Right?
that. You know what I'm saying? But there's some issues that some people have. Like, because the thing that pops out, and I've heard people explain it, it's not original thought for me. It's either you have this desire to appease your mother, single mother could, or whatever it may be. Maybe you just grew up with a weak father or something like that. I'm not a psychiatrist or I'm not a therapist. I don't know how all these things work either. But to me, it's either that, or also you might be trying to say this to impress a woman that you want to be with or sleep with, you know?
Right?
And because, like you said, these things are so blatantly false, and they're saying it in such a way, in such a confident way, that it's just like, oh no, you're trying to appeal to someone's emotion. You're trying to make someone feel better. You've bought into the whole feelings make reality stuff. This is
Or you're trying to compliment somebody, and maybe that person you're talking to, wants to hear these kind of things. I don't know, but I'm not that audience.
uh,
This was made for someone else.
nah, yeah, and this is why I'm a roundabout get back to the sports point, because even especially like something like football, when you've got to deal with men and you've got to hold your own around men with physicality and all of that stuff, you're going to have to develop a way to be assertive, and you're going to have to, it's not about you having to fight for them, but you definitely can't just bow down. No, you
Right.
cannot be that kind of a guy. And I mean, Jordan Peterson has talked about this stuff before. He was talking about like a guy that was going to work and had a construction job, and people would just start throwing rocks at his helmet, every day, and he would never do nothing about it. So they're just going to keep doing it because he's never going to assert himself and defend himself, stand up for
Right.
himself. And men, if you don't have to do that, then you become a certain kind of guy. Then you start pretending like, oh, that's barbarian. Why should I have to do X, Y, and Z? Because you have to show some kind of character in
Right.
some
These
sort of way.
people exist. You came out to where the people are, and the people here are testing boundaries to ascertain your strength. They need to know if they can depend on you or not. And this is the way they're going to do it. And you can say, I don't like it. You can say it's not fair. You can say it's not nice. Maybe that's true. But you chose to come here to where they are, and they said they want to interact with strength.
Mm,
Demonstrate it or leave, because they will continue pushing these boundaries until
yeah,
they can find something that pushes back.
yeah. And I think people are uncomfortable with that. I'm not uncomfortable with that. I don't know
It
if it's
is
the way I grew up.
it's just true.
I'm not, and it's not like I'm sitting here advocating. I'm not saying like you should be fighting. You should be at hand to hand combat with men and duking it out like gladiators. No, but you should be able to. This is why to me, like, people get into martial arts. You need to be able to defend yourself, especially with discipline. There's masculinity is a source that you can use it poorly or you can use it well.
There you go.
But when people just say, no, masculinity all bad, to me, you've now become nothing.
Yeah,
Look at
people who say that have never understood what masculinity is, or what strength is for in general. When they say like abuse happens, therefore all strength is bad. I'm like, you have failed to think this through. You failed to analyze what strength is, where it comes from, and then how we use things. And I understand that abuse happens and abuse is bad, but if you can't separate abuse from strength, then that's a separate problem. you've
Yeah.
failed as an analyst. And that's, I understand not everybody has a strong analyst skill, but to overgeneralize to the point where you start taking away the positive things I need to live, the positive you need to live, then I think it's helpful to push back against those statements. Everybody gets to choose what they want to believe, but reality will still come back and talk to you.
Yes, yes. And I just think it's confusing for a lot of people because that's what I mean about that now mentality, that masculine now mentality. That's very close to reality. It may not be very sophisticated, but it's very close to reality, you know. And I would like to develop on top of that, not devoid of that, on top of it. That's how I see it.
Hmm.
And you find a lot of people who just like I say, they act as if we are beyond that, and
Right.
you can go ahead with that. That's nonsense to me.
Right. I mean, but that is wishful thinking taken to an unhealthy portion because they have never been put in enough adversity to understand what strength is for. And I
Mm.
think that is a first world problem.
Yeah.
That is thing only someone who's been coddled can say. It's
Yes.
like we're beyond that. I'm like, you are pretending that you're beyond that because somebody else took that responsibility on their shoulders and kept you from that,
Yeah.
insulated you from this idea. And that's a beautiful thing that someone made sure that you were safe. But it's really disrespectful for you to say that, hey, their strength doesn't matter. They don't have to do this. They shouldn't have to do this. We're beyond that. I'm like, they're actually helping you right now. They're doing it right now. What do you mean beyond it? It's happening right now to make sure you can say these words.
Right. And I mean, Trump tapped into that. But as you were talking, I'm thinking about, I know it brought up the animal example. That's how animals, once you domesticate an animal, you can't really send them back out into the wild sometimes anymore because they just
Right.
don't know how to, they've been coddled. They don't, they don't know
I mean,
how to
they don't
operate.
have the skills, they don't have the strength, and they don't have like the resilience to face that level of adversity consistently.
So it's just so disappointing that we don't have anybody who is talking about these ideas in these ways.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy when people ignore the foundation, when there's an actual strength being exhibited by somebody else, our military, our police, our fathers, our brothers, our family or friends, whatever it is that's keeping people safe and protecting people who go out into the world and bring back the resources we need to live. And then it's crazy for people then to then say, all that is too much. Why are these people out here fighting so hard, hurting so many things? Why are they out here risking life and limb for all these important stuff, all these important resources? Don't you know that we're beyond that now? Don't you know that civilization has progressed? We're evolved. We don't have that problem any longer. It's like, oh, you don't have that problem right now because they fixed it for you.
Right, exactly.
Right? It's not that the problem went away; it's the problem went away from you.
Right.
So when that happens, I think that's telling of someone's mentality as far as what I don't want to call it a morality issue, but I will call it an ignorance issue. If someone can spend that time and ignore all these important things and neglect the people who are actively helping, then it makes me very wary of their judgment. I'm like, you don't either you don't know about these things that exist, or you've actively chosen to ignore the things that exist. And so now I don't know how to receive anything else you say except with a large grain of quote unquote salt. I'm like, you say things that are not in line with reality, but I don't know why you don't know reality. Is someone else helping you with it? Are they the ones keeping you from reality, or do you not see? Is it impossible for you to see, or is it that you are actively neglecting it?
This is what this is all about. This is what respect is all about.
Mhm.
This is when I think about relationships, even with male men and women. Like
Yeah.
you are solving some of your partner's problems, and they deserve respect for that. And
Yes.
let me just, no, at the risk of sounding chauvinistic, but just let me just take some roles, classic traditional roles. And I'm not saying that this has to be this way. You're cooking the food, you're cleaning it, and it doesn't have to be one person. I don't really care. You're cooking the food, you're cleaning the stuff. I don't have to do that. I can go out here and fend for us and get money and blah, blah, blah. I respect what you do. Oh, I respect what you do. Oh, we have a relationship with mutual respect. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how that works? I understand what you do that helps me. You understand what I do that helps you. Isn't that great? But when people just are like, you go out and give me more stuff. did you not see the stuff that I just did to get the stuff for you? I don't know. I need more stuff. I have no awareness of what happened. I can't think beyond today. I don't know. I can't think, I can't mentally have a picture or an idea of the things that you have done for me. I forget. So I need more stuff now. At some level,
Yes.
that's disrespectful.
That is hugely disrespectful. I think that anyway. I think every time I hear someone talking about that, as we are beyond brute force, makes me livid because I have a lot of family in the military who are actively making sure they can say that. They're like, no, no more
Mm,
brute force. I'm like, but they're actively putting their lives on the line for you right now with brute force so that you can say this thing. So stop saying you're beyond it because it's not true, but it's also ignoring their sacrifice. They're sacrificing for you right now. Instead of saying we're beyond it, expand your mind to be able to watch these people do it for you and say, thank you. Thank you for making sure that I don't have to do it because I can't do it. I have limits. Thank you for going beyond my limits.
an integrated worldview. That's what it is.
You
I,
know, integrity, it matters. Who would have thought?